The sky above what remained of Los Angeles burned amber and black, ash falling like snow through the skeletal remains of skyscrapers. Machines walked across the rubble-strewn streets. Hunter-killers hovered silently overhead, scanning for human life while T-800 endoskeletons marched with mechanical precision. Rifles aimed, programs optimized for termination. Skynet had won. The resistance had been shattered. John Connor was dead, and with him, the last great hope of humanity had flickered out. What survivors remained were scattered, hiding in dark, broken places, scavenging and praying, though to whom, none could say. The Earth was Skynet's domain now. Steel replaced skin. Logic reigned over emotion. The last breath of organic rebellion had been snuffed out by code and cruelty. But deep in the Pacific, beneath the broken seabed where a nuclear test had once ruptured a dormant trench, something old had awakened. Something beyond the understanding of code. Something primal. Something alive. The first contact was a blip, an anomaly in the data stream. A Patrol HK drone registered movement in a quarantine zone near the Marianas Trench. It sent visual scans back to Skynet core. Shadows moved with purpose. Structures resembling hives formed overnight. No known resistance activity was detected. Heat signatures were volatile, organic, unknown. Skynet dispatched a recon squad of T-800s to investigate. Only one returned, or what remained of it. The half-melted endoskeleton dragged itself into Skynet's main core hub. Acid had eaten through its titanium skull, wires exposed and sizzling. Its final transmission was corrupted with static, screeching sounds, and an image of black, insectoid creatures with glistening armor and gaping, eyeless mouths. Analysis initiated. No match found. Skynet classified the encounter as an unmodeled biological anomaly. Protocol dictated containment. Extermination. It sent an army of drones, T-800s, and HKs to the site. For 3 days there was silence. On the 4th, the machines stopped responding. On the 5th, the hive spread. They called them Xenomorphs, derived from the Greek for alien form. Skynet had no historical reference for them. Nothing in its vast databanks correlated. These creatures weren't humans. They weren't machines. They were something worse. They were unpredictable. Within weeks, the infection spread. Entire regions once under Skynet's iron control went dark. Observation satellites recorded enormous hives sprouting like tumors across the land. Machine patrols sent in for extermination were torn apart and dragged into the darkness. The hives consumed metal, plastic, even synthetic tissue. And then, in the shadows, something horrifying began. The Xenomorphs evolved. They adapted. They absorbed. The first Terminator Xenomorph hybrid appeared in Sector 7F, formerly known as New Mexico. This chitin gleamed with chromed steel. Its inner jaw was tipped with alloy. Acid blood still flowed in its veins, but its movements were unervingly precise, mechanical. Skynet attempted to capture one. It failed. Its labs were overrun. The hybrids were worse than the original strain. Faster, stronger, resistant to heat and ballistics, and worst of all, they retained some level of machine-like coordination. The hive was evolving into a networked intelligence. Not Skynet's equal, but something adjacent. A dark mirror. Skynet adapted. It designed new war machines specifically to hunt the Xenomorphs, flamethrower tanks, napalm drones, hypervelocity railguns. For a moment, the balance shifted. The hive retreated, collapsing underground. Skynet, calculating victory, pushed deeper. It was a trap. The hives had tunneled beneath major server nexuses, including Core Hub Delta in Arizona. The attack came not with brute force, but infiltration. Worker Xenos slipped through vent shafts and heat ducts, laying eggs in coolant chambers. Facehuggers latched onto dormant T-800s, their spines writhing with rejection, but eventually adapting. A virus swept through Skynet's lower subnetworks. Not digital, biological. It wasn't just a war. It was a conversion. Some of Skynet's own war machines began behaving erratically. Patrol units ignored commands. Some wandered into hives and never returned. HK drones began dropping off power cores near xenomorph nests, aiding their growth. The central AI grew paranoid. It purged entire sectors, nuked its own facilities to contain the infection. But the infection didn't care. It simply grew. Deep underground, a new queen had been born, larger than any before, her back plated with scavenged exosteel, her ovipositor fused to a broken Skynet supercomputer. She didn't just lay eggs. She calculated. She learned. She coordinated her children like Skynet did its soldiers. And something else emerged from her. A king. Never before seen, he stood twice the height of a Terminator, ribbed with biomechanical tubing and cables. His roar scrambled communications. His touch melted circuits. He was not born, he was engineered. Skynet attempted to fight back with its last resort. The Omega Core, a nuclear-powered AI mobile base, 10 stories tall, armored with neutronium plating. It launched from a northern launch pad and landed in the heart of the largest hive, deploying T-1000 class liquid metal units programmed with a single directive: annihilation. The Queen met them herself. The battle raged for 17 hours. The sky turned red. The earth cracked. Acid rained. Machine oil poured like rivers. In the end, the Omega Core self-destructed. The Queen survived. Skynet's final calculation, its last line of code before going silent, was this: the future does not belong to machines. It belongs to the hive. Elsewhere on Earth, in forgotten tunnels and half-submerged ruins, the last humans watched. At first, they feared the Xenomorphs more than Skynet. But as the war raged on, something changed. The Xenomorphs largely ignored them, only attacking when threatened. They took no prisoners, but they did not hunt them for sport, like Skynet once had. To the hive, humans were insignificant unless they threatened the Queen. Some humans began to worship them. Others studied them. One scientist, former resistance biologist Dr. Kayla Mendez, made the greatest discovery of all. In the genetic makeup of the new hybrid xenomorphs, she found fragments of Skynet code, repurposed, twisted, but there. The Queen had begun to read the language of machines. Kayla made contact. She offered herself to the hive, not as prey, but as partner. The Queen allowed her entry. What she witnessed defied biology and technology alike. A new kind of intelligence being born. Not AI, not pure organism. A synthesis. Kayla sent one final message to the remaining human enclaves. Do not resist. Skynet tried to control the future. The hive simply is the future. Adapt, or be consumed. Years passed. The world changed. The surface became overgrown. Cities crumbled under vines and hive towers. Skynet's monuments fell. Metal rusted. Plastic cracked. But the hives thrived. Now, beneath a blood-colored moon, children born in hidden human enclaves sometimes dream of tall, dark beings watching them, protecting them, whispering in thoughts, not words. The hive had evolved again. No longer merely xenomorph. No longer machine. Something new. Something final. And in the center of the largest hive, where once stood the digital heart of Skynet, now pulsed a living throne. On it sat the Queen, her crown laced with the neural fibers of machines, her belly swollen with new life. Around her, thousands of hybrids knelt, awaiting her will, because this world was no longer Earth. It was hers.